I wasn't aware of the fact that there are tropes about Jews and money. That has been a very enlightening part of this journey.
If you break the law and you follow due process, there are consequences to your actions, even if you say sorry.
You want it, right? Well, today, tears are flowing through the Capitol. Everybody's screaming, everyone's crying. So what's the occasion? Well, Congresswoman Omar got voted off the Foreign Affairs Committee.
The question is on adoption of the resolution. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those in favor say no. No. It's the opinion of the chair that the ayes have it and the resolution is agreed to. And without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Does that remind you of anything?
Tears, shouting, and accusations swept through the House chamber today as Congresswoman Ilhan Omar was removed from the Foreign Affairs Committee. The resolution passed by voice vote, with the chair determining that the ayes held the majority. A motion to reconsider was immediately tabled. Democratic lawmakers quickly described the vote as a breakdown of democracy, calling it an act of racism and an attack on Muslim Americans. However, this situation did not arise in isolation. It follows a precedent set by Democrats in previous Congresses, when they removed Republican members from committee assignments, arguing that such positions are a privilege rather than a right, and that actions have consequences. Now, that same standard is being applied in the opposite direction. For clear, straightforward political analysis without the theatrics, subscribe and stay with us.
Democrats boot your boys off committees and turn the other cheek. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Let's just not let it happen again. Swalwell and Schiff got the boot from Intel because they're liars, leakers, and Chinese spy sleepers. And Elon got axed because of anti-Semitism. She called Israel evil and said, Jews, it's all about the money. But Omar says she loves Jews, and she had no idea there was a thing with Jews and money.
I certainly did not or was not aware that the word hypnotize was a trope. I wasn't aware of the fact that there are tropes about Jews and money. That has been a very enlightening part of this journey.
Adam Schiff's Jewish. He's looking at her like, that's like me telling dumb blonde jokes and Dana getting upset. And I say, Dana, I never knew people tease blondes about their brains. Even I couldn't play that dumb. And it's easy for me. So 2 white guys got stripped and then a Muslim woman. So how does AOC see it? Omar was fired because of 9/11.
As a fellow New Yorker, I think one of the things that we should talk about here is also one of the disgusting legacies after 9/11 has been the targeting and racism against Muslim Americans throughout the United States of America. And this is an extension of that legacy.
Whoa! So some people did some things to Omar, and that's racist. And if the racist Republicans don't shut up, the squad is going to die.
Consistency, there is nothing consistent with the Republican Party's continued attack except for the racism and incitement of violence against women of color in this body. I had a member of the Republican caucus threaten my life, and you all and the Republican caucus rewarded him with one of the most prestigious committee assignments in this Congress. This is about targeting women of color in the United States of America. Don't tell me, because I didn't get a single apology.
Time has expired.
When my life was threatened. Thank you.
Whoa! I haven't seen AOC that angry since somebody called her a big booty Latina.
See this guy right there? Right there. When I was walking up, he said, hey, right in front of a Capitol Police officer, said, hey, here's this, look at that big ass, look at that big juicy booty, this Latina, like whatever, all the bunch of racist, sexist stuff.
This was only the beginning. Apparently, Omar losing a committee seat was worse than January 6th.
Republicans are waging a blatantly Islamophobic and racist attack on Congresswoman Omar. And I've said it before, I will say it again. The white supremacy happening is unbelievable. This is despicable. This is just a bunch of racist gaslighting.
Could it be the way that she looks?
Time is
Could
expired.
it be her religious practices? This clearly isn't about what Ilhan Omar said as much as who she is. Being a smart, outspoken black woman of a Muslim faith is apparently the issue.
The GOP is now doing what it is best at, weaponizing hate against a black, beautiful Muslim woman. They turn Congress into a place of fear-mongering hate. It is so painful to watch.
The racism was so strong, it brought the squad to tears.
You are showing who you all are, really.
The gentlewoman's time has
Omar
expired.
will not be silenced.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
To Congresswoman Omar, I am
gentlewoman's
so
time
sorry,
has
sis,
expired.
that our country is failing you today through this chamber. You belong
The gentlewoman
in that
is no
committee.
longer recognized.
You belong in that committee. Have you ever seen Democrats cry for their constituents who get shot? Have you ever seen Democrats cry when the cartels poison our people? People are getting pushed into subway tracks, but this gets Democrats upset. You get fired and they don't bat an eye, but the squad gets fired and they cry. This tells you everything you need to know about these people. It's all about them. It's not about you. It's about their power, their perks, their places on committee. Where was that emotion when the terrorists were blowing up our Marines in Afghanistan? Or when moms were scrambling for baby formula? Well, Omar closed out the show, and I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm just going to guess that Omar reminded us that she's a Muslim immigrant from Africa.
Well, I am Muslim. I am an immigrant, and interestingly, from Africa. Is anyone surprised that I am being targeted? Is anyone surprised that I am somehow deemed unworthy to speak about American foreign policy? Or that they see me as a powerful voice that needs to be silenced?
Omar is not just a congresswoman. She tells us she is a global citizen, and people around the world celebrate her accomplishments. We don't know what those accomplishments are, but if you listen closely, the world is clapping.
My leadership and voice will not be diminished if I am not on this committee for one term. My voice.
Ilhan Omar did not lose her seat in Congress. She did not lose her vote, her voice, or her ability to legislate or raise funds. What she lost was a single committee assignment. Yet the reaction from Democrats suggested something far more severe, as if the institution itself were unraveling. Accusations of racism, Islamophobia, and white supremacy dominated the floor debate. Several lawmakers argued the decision was driven by prejudice rather than conduct. The tension peaked when Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez linked Omar's removal to the legacy of 9/11, claiming it reflected post-9/11 discrimination against Muslim Americans. That framing shifted the discussion from a procedural move to a broader moral confrontation, leading to repeated disruptions until the gavel finally brought order. Largely missing from the debate, however, was the reasoning cited by Republicans. They pointed to Omar's past statements about Israel and Jewish people, remarks critics say crossed lines that Democrats themselves often enforce. When similar rhetoric comes from Republicans, it is frequently labeled as anti-Semitic. In Omar's case, Democrats argued that intent should matter more than impact. Omar herself said she was unaware of long-standing tropes involving Jews and money, a defense that drew visible skepticism, even among some allies. The broader response highlighted another underlying issue. The outrage was less about constituents losing representation and more about the loss of influence. Committee assignments bring authority, visibility, and power. When that power was removed, the reaction was swift and emotional. Meanwhile, other major issues, crime, fentanyl deaths, border challenges, and economic strain, rarely provoked the same level of visible intensity on the House floor. A committee seat did. Democrats had previously supported removing members from committees when they held the majority, arguing that leadership decisions carry consequences. Now, faced with the same approach applied to one of their own, many rejected that principle. Omar closed by emphasizing her identity as a Muslim immigrant from Africa, framing the vote as an attempt to silence her. Yet her platform, voice, and authority as a member of Congress remain intact. What changed was access to a specific form of institutional influence. At its core, this episode was less about identity and more about power, and how political actors respond when they lose it. For more direct analysis without the theatrics, subscribe and follow.